If, as Julius Caesar said, Gaul is divided into 3 parts, so too the book of Numbers is divided into 3 parts. The first 10 chapters is a time of great optimism and promise as Bnei Israel take leave of Har Sinai and prepare to enter Eretz Yisrael. The next 10 chapters, from chapter 11 through chapter 19, things are going badly. One after another, bad things happen, and we are sentenced to wander in the desert for 40 years. And then abruptly, without warning, chapter 20 takes us ahead to the end of those years of wandering, and once again we find ourselves on the cusp of entering Eretz Yisrael, and this final section, the final third of the book of Numbers, is the final stages of conquest and preparations leading up to and setting the stage for Sefer Dvarim, Moshe's final farewell addresses before he takes leave of his people. This abrupt change in time at the beginning of chapter 20 goes without warning, is not really remarked upon, and is perhaps the greatest shift that occurs in the Torah without really any warning whatsoever. We all of a sudden find ourselves with a new cast of characters, new people, and the episodes that are described no longer are in those initial years after the Exodus. All of a sudden we find ourselves in the final preparation leading to the conquest of Eretz Yisrael, and again, no warning, no context is given, but if you read closely, this shift is momentous, and it dictates really everything that happens in the remaining sections of this book. Every year I think about this transition. Every year I think it's worth noting. I'm sure I've spoken about it before. This year it seems particularly poignant because we have lived through and we are living through a change in epoch. I'm sure that future historians will divide our time into the pre-COVID stage and the post-COVID stage. Right now we're in the midst of the COVID stage, in the eye of the storm at best, and this was a change in our way of life, in our way of thinking, in our culture, in our technology and science that had no warning, came abruptly, and whose full impact has not yet been felt and won't really be capable of thinking about for many years to come. So I think as you hear this Torah portion this Shabbat, as you read and contemplate this Torah portion this Shabbat, think of how the Torah presents and describes a shift that is momentous but came without warning or without being any outside attention being drawn to it, and yet the change is dramatic and significant and shifts everything, and how we have weathered a similar and are weathering a similar transition in our own lives. Wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Look forward to seeing you in person in the coming weeks. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.